And in getting ready for tonight. So this one's called Ethical Jobs for Pacifists, Perth WA, or rather lack thereof. Google aforementioned and see how it pans out. Like panning for gold in this day and age has a feel as if Sudan, Darfur, a capital in Syria or some such you could be, not a progressive city such as Perth WA, an outpost. Governed by who? A fine Liberal government with a fine Liberal leader? Colin Barnett, a bully, there's visual to endorse it, amongst more to be sure, usurping the mayor of Cot of their role over some such development project or another. Or harpy it is they are, for other power entities with high public profiles and proliferation of rankismist minions. Gina is it at the helm, weighed down by slumping ore gluts and bad grammar on itinerant slave labour prose? Or Andrew wielding a magic litigious wand over massive debt and scoring 41 billion? That'll give us some to spare. Rio Tinto maybe, Chevron perhaps, Woodside could it be? Who's shackled with the leadership of this fine, democratic, humanitarian chunk of resources rich down under we're all residing upon? As you shuffle from a glaring midday harshness, who's doing pacifists? Where's all the ethicists? Disclaiming resistance. So, you're in a resistance movement gathering downtown, Avenues End, Dada, Midlandia, 1066 like trench warfare, doing battle with the stunning, beatific, cloaked and daggered, trench-coated covert operative. You, bayonet jabbed with, I'm just the old codger, same hopes, dreams and ambitions as you's young'uns, seeking peaceful resolution to this top-loading washer of dirty laundry. She, they, the whole administrative top-heavy, cumbersome entity of arts projects and top-secret agendas. Let us know if we can spread some large lump sum living away from home penalty allowances over a few weeks' time management segments, so as we can defraud new brand MyGov, the Centrelink, fascist, bureaucratic, pulped and repulped, paper shuffling, corpulent cankers that they is. They parry with, my friends are all older people and my besties are dead. Yeah, stacked wood pile high like as kindling and logs against the barriers and the barricades in the trenches. In peacetime, as a peacekeeping force to who knows where next, I stand disclaiming I'm a conscientious objector and he's not my father. The others, they all just conjured him up. Pay attention, add attention, listen up, military erect. I stand, finger in dike. Yeah. This is probably about the most political commentary of what I've got. It's just a silly little thing. Let me just get it straight in my head. See how it goes. Trump, Putin, Turnbull, 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 Trump, Putin, Turnbull.
Caroline couldn't make it tonight, but she sent me some poems, and they're not the ones I asked her to send, but that's Caroline. She does her own thing. She's someone who I really admire. She's a comic poet, and some people call her the Pam Ayres of Perth, and She's suffered all her life from a pretty serious disability, a severe form of Asperger's that affects the body as well as your learning abilities. And so she's been treated like dirt by a lot of people for most of her life, but she's one of these really positive people that just gets out there and just fucking does it. And when she's pissed off about something, she just writes poetry about it, and so I wanted her to do the poems about Centrelink that she wrote, because she's always having trouble with Centrelink. They're always trying to take money off her and mess her about. They do that with people with mental disabilities. It's disgusting. But anyway, she sent me these instead. This is called Beware Tony Abbott. Tony Abbott was showing off his budgie smugglers. He went to the circus and fired the jugglers. He said, "You cost too much to keep. Piss off. Go take a leap." He sold the circus overseas to China and sold our local airliner. He wanted to step free. He wanted to stop free Medicare for the poor without a dime to spare. He wanted to cut the jobs at schools so the kids would all turn out stupid fools. He only wants Australia for the rich. He really is a stingy bitch. I don't know why. It's kind of political and it's based on a certain millionairess. It's called The Awful Truth. The Tooth Fairy is heaven sent. She doesn't leave the kids a cent. The Tooth Fairy weaves her magic spell, her victims fit and leaves her victims rather unwell. She leaves her victims toothless and gummy and stuffs them with a rubber dummy. The parents think she's a bitch, but she don't care, she's filthy rich. The Tooth Fairy drives a Mercedes-Benz and the politicians are her favourite friends. She uses the teeth to build towers in the sky. The towers are over 3 miles high. She flits about from state to state and has gotten into real estate. She doesn't care about the kids, and lately she's gone and hit the skids. She's been shooting up on high-grade smack. I think she ought to get the sack. Where is it? This is the open mic, by the way. G'day, folks. I'm Mr. Hockey. I'm a bastard and I'm really cocky. I'm the treasurer of the Liberal government, and some people think I'm heaven sent. We're here to help the rich and punish the poor. With the little folks, we'll wipe the floor. We'll always give ourselves a pay rise while fooling folks with our nasty lies. We want to give Medicare the boot so the Liberal Party can have more loot. Say goodbye to Medicare. If you can't afford a doctor, we just don't care. We'll have you working as in slavery, even if you can't pay for your tea. If you're rich, you can vote for the Liberal Party, but not for the little folks like you and me. There you go. And speaking of giant elephants, our next open mic performer is Robin Edwards, and Robin is going to be performing as a certain giant millionairess. Ladies and gentlemen, Lena Swinefart.
Thank you, Pauline.
Oh.
Your brown paper bag's at the bank.
Oh, wow.
You'll understand that later,
I
darling.
do.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lena Swinefart. I just want to say a few things before we start. Some of you wonder how I amassed my loot. Well, I think it's a giggle, a laugh and a hoot. I did nothing, really, to get my stash. My father croaked and I'm burnt into ash. The old man left me the iron ore mine, which is appropriate because it's bloody mine. Look, I'm so well off, so effing rich, I can indulge my arrogance and be the complete bitch. And with handfuls of cash, I can satisfy a whimsy. I use $100 bills to dry my mimsy. But I don't waste the money, the $100 notes. I stack it all up and use it to buy votes. But, good peasants, I disagree with those in power. You shouldn't get paid $4 an hour. I stand with you and I will have my say. If you work for me, you get $2 a day. And if you work real hard, I'm feeling nice, maybe I'll give you a bowl of brown rice. Though should you not work and not toe the line and disagree with 20-hour shifts are just fine. If you want to eat food, and that includes pizza, I'll pack you on a plane and cancel your visa. There's no more time to talk to you peasants. I have to run and consume 18 pheasants. Good night.
Thanks, Helen, and thanks to Caroline, even though she couldn't make it. Next up, we've got Tim Parkin. I don't have an intro or bio for Tim Parkin, but I will say I think he's one of the great poets of Perth.
Good evening. I didn't think I had that many political poems, but I've got a couple. And I wrote one this week in reply to the one that I already had because I had to update it a bit. So the first one is called Death to Tony Abbott. If they let this vicious bastard pass his budget through the Senate, you can tell it's a bit dated, he'll screw the battlers through the floor and out the other side. I didn't vote for the evil, bat-eared, budgie smuggler, did you? Did your mum or dad or anyone you know? The refugees get totally screwed for the next 3 years, no matter what we do. The rich will be richer, the poor will be poorer. Australia will be a meaner, hungrier land. You'll pay more to go to the doctor. You won't get paid at all sometimes if you're young and unemployed. The poor and the destitute will stalk the land and remain poor and destitute. Radiation of suffering will suffuse the land, weakening the spirit of the whole country. And Australia will get colder and colder inside. It might turn to Siberia emotionally. Who will rescue us from this greedhead fascist monster? Baloney Abbott would be much better. Thank you. This next one's called Who is Malcolm Turnbull? Who is Malcolm Turnbull? He used to believe in an ETS. He used to believe in marriage equality by legislation. He used to believe in climate change. He used to be in the middle of the political spectrum. Now he's mutating into Tony Abbott. Just like him, he's a right-wing fuckwit now. It's as if the right wing of the Liberal Party is his smartphone. He's being totally hypnotised. Another reactionary zombie, another identikit oppressor, plotting the destruction of the planet. So please don't vote for the bastard. It's a piece of speculative fiction, or sort of for me. I was just imagining what it would be like to have a wife, which doesn't look like it's happening, going as I'm like 45 and never been married. Oh, God. Anyway, I wonder what it would be like to have a wife. I wonder this a lot until the meme eats into my brain and repeats continuously. What would it be like? What would it be like to have someone to listen to my bullshit and tell me that everything will be okay when I'm depressed? Someone to tell me that she loves you when it seems like rabid Wookiees are at the door, when the schizophrenics gibber and the bipolars polarise, when the autistics discuss their interests and the learning disabled drool, she will be there for me. When the dominant males preen and the poets dream, when the vicious harridans howl and the posers pontificate, we'll ignore that person, she will be there for me. Every person needs a companion. So the cold fingers of genetic fate shut up, around my throat. My soul screamed for unity and togetherness. My soul howled for love. It's pretty groovy, isn't it? If I had a wife, I would insert the words, my wife, into myriad sentences. Like women always insert the words, my boyfriend or my husband, when they're talking to me. Just so I think they're taken, whether they're single or not, and I don't have a chance in hell. I'd say things like, my wife has a stomach ache, and my wife loves to eat peaches, or my wife is a divine angel of pure light and her breasts smell like strawberries, or my wife gave me the most excellent blowjob this morning, and now the whole universe sparkles with possibilities. Somewhere between divine and human, love forever, no matter how much this crazy world longs for the abyss. She will be my soulmate and my partner in crime, my dearest confidant and my gorgeous honey darling, my antithesis and my synthesis. I wonder if she's out there, locked up in some Kafkaesque insane asylum, tied down on a stretcher overdosing on antipsychotics. I might channel Sean Connery's James Bond and go and rescue her, if only I knew where she was, or if she even exists. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I heard this rumour. Not sure if it's true or not, but I heard this rumour that there's a federal election on. And if you listen to the media, they'll tell you the main contenders is basically the Liberal Party, who's out to screw the poor and rule for the rich, and the Labor Party, who's out to screw the poor and rule for the rich. And just a little while ago, only a few weeks ago, the Liberal Party released their budget, and that is the inspiration for this poem. This budget's all about jobs and growth. He said jobs and growth. He said jobs and growth. The PM echoed him, jobs and growth. He said jobs and growth. He said jobs and growth. But jobs for who? And growth in what? The Treasurer didn't specify, though he looked so earnest as he told his lie. Jobs and growth. He said jobs and growth. Jobs they say, but profits they mean. Nobody's talking about jobs that are green. No one's talking about jobs at all. They're talking about profits behind a smoke screen. The growth bit is true if you're talking about money in the pockets of the rich. And you, honey. Growth in profits, growth in CO2, growth in obesity and heart disease too. Growth in consumption, as long as you can pay. Growth in unpaid overtime, a longer working day. Growth in transfers to an offshore tax haven. Growth in excuses by politicians craven. But, though he didn't say it, there's reductions there too. Reductions in healthcare, reductions for you. Reductions in penalty rates when you want to relax. Reductions in the number of companies that pay tax. But it all sounds much better if you say jobs and growth. He said jobs and growth. He said jobs and growth. The front bench will echo him, saying jobs and growth. But I say it's time to fight back. Fucking oath. Now, I'm a little bit in your hands, to be honest. I don't know how long you want me to go for and what you want to do.
Just grab it on, do a song at the end.
All right, I'll do a song. But before that, I might do, because, was it Carol mentioned Henry Lawson?
Oh, Coral
mentioned Henry Lawson. I love Henry Lawson. And she mentioned about how Henry Lawson was a bit more sort of down to earth and grassroots than the person she didn't mention, which is Banjo Patterson. And there was a period when Henry Lawson and Banjo Patterson had this huge feud in the Bulletin, and Banjo Patterson would write all these poems out. Oh, how wonderful it was out in the country. Oh, how nice, how romantic and blah blah blah. And Henry Lawson would write back and say, actually, for real, it's actually not so romantic as what you say. And the truth is, it was actually a scheme they cooked up between the two of them to each get their poem published in the Bulletin. But it was the source of great controversy and fury. And this poem was written at that time, so it wasn't actually part of that specific controversy and fury, but it was written at that time. And this is a sort of a send up by Henry Lawson of Banjo Patterson's poetical style, and it's called the Grog-An Grumble Steeplechase. Twixt the coastline and the border lay the town of Grog-An Grumble, just two pubs beside a racecourse in a wilderness of sludge. And they say the local meeting is a drunken rough and tumble, which was ended pretty often by an inquest on the judge. Yes, 'tis said the local talent very often caught a tartar in the Grog-An Grumble sportsman and retired with broken heads. For the fortune, life and safety of the Grog-An Grumble starter mostly hung up on the finish of the local thoroughbreds. Now, Pat Moderma was the owner of a horse they called the Screamer, which he called the quickest stepper twixt the Darlin and the sea. Though I think it very doubtful if a banshee-haunted dreamer ever saw a more outrageous piece of equine scenery. Though his points were most decided from his end to his beginning, he had eyes of different colour, and his legs, they wasn't mates. Moderma said he always came, "We did a flip of winning," and his sire had come from England, and his dam was from the States. But friends would argue with Moderma, and they said he was in error to put up his horse, the Screamer, for he'd lose in any case. And a city horse, they told him, by the name of Holy Terror, was regarded as the winner of the coming steeplechase. Well, the day arrived in glory. It was a day of jubilation for the careless-hearted bushfolk quite 100 miles around, and the rum and beer and whiskey flowed in wagons from the station, and the Holy Terror talent were the first upon the ground. Judge Ma'ard, with whose opinion it was scarcely safe to wrestle, took his dangerous position on the bark and sapling stand. He was what the local Stiggins used to speak of as a whistle of woof, and he'd a bludgeon that he carried in his hand. "Off ye go," the starter shouted, as down fell a stupid jockey. Off they started, in disorder, left the jockey where he lay. And they fell and rolled and galloped, down a crooked course and rocky, till the pumping of the Screamer could be heard a mile away. Yes, he kept his legs and galloped. He was used to rugged courses. And he lumbered down the gully while the ridge began to quake. And he ploughed along the siding, raising earth, till other horses and their riders too were blinded by the dust cloud in his wake. That's Holy Terror, actually. Holy Terror's in the lead, and the dust cloud's in the wake. But the Screamer, kept his legs and galloped. He was used to rugged courses. And he lumbered down the gully till the ridge began to quake. And he ploughed along the siding, raising earth to other horses, and their riders too were blinded by the dust cloud in his wake. From the ruck he struggled slowly. They were much surprised to find him close the beam of Holy Terror as along the flat they tore. Even higher still and denser rose the cloud of dust behind them, while in more divided splinters flew the shattered rails before. "Terror! Dead heat! Terror!" they were shouting, but the Screamer hung out, nose to nose with Holy Terror as across the creek they swung, and the Derma shouted loudly, "Put your tongue out! Put your tongue out!" And the Screamer put his tongue out, and he won by half a tongue.
So, I have another poem, and this one I wrote earlier this year. A few of you know it. You're welcome to join if you want to. And this is one that I wrote in response to our foot-in-mouth immigration minister, who just doesn't seem to be able to say anything right or do anything right. This was from earlier in this year. You might remember when he got caught out sending a text to someone he was having a go at, and there's some strong language in this one, and he's the one who started it. He called the journalist a mad fucking witch. She was the journalist who, you might remember, was letting people know about the minister who had revealed the identity of a woman who complained about sexual harassment. So that's what sparked this. But don't forget, this guy, as well as being misogynist, he's also the immigration minister. So there's plenty of misogyny that he lets on. So I'll just start with a beat, and if you want to join in, you're welcome to. I'm a mad fucking witch, and there's a minister I've hexed for his everyday misogyny. Not just that one text, I'm a mad fucking witch. I'm angry to the core. As I shriek my words, I seek to settle the score. Peter Dutton, you stand accused. are failing to protect the women abused in Australia's black sites for refugees on the mainland and overseas. Women like Abi pregnant from rape or Nauru. You refused her abortion. What's she gonna do? She is detained. Her rapist is at large. Just like you, he hasn't yet been charged. Nazanin, who became suicidal, assaulted on Nauru. You did worse than stand idle. You separated her from her family who loved her. They wanted to be near so they could support and hug her. Too many others, more than I can name. Street searched by guards, forced to feel the shame. The leering eyes, the threatening hands, saying they were looking for contraband. Official abuse. You turn a blind eye, you cover it up. At least you'd like to try, but the truth is out. It's more than just your text, and this mad fucking witch knows what should happen next. You should get the sack and be made to stand trial for failing to prevent these deeds so vile, for failing to uphold the rights of detainees, of asylum seekers and refugees, for failing to protect those who sought our care, who came the only way they could by boat, not air. I am a mad fucking witch, enraged at what I see, and I will fight till all the refugees are free.